UFC 297, the UFC is finally back in Toronto, 5.5 years away, or just over 5 years away. Are you noticing any differences with UFC back in terms of audience engagement and how people are reacting to it?
No, I mean, we're going to be sold out on Saturday. And I don't know, we'll see when we get in the arena. And I think a lot of that is going to be determined by who wins on Saturday night. We get a couple of these Canadian kids that have the potential to be big stars, win and win impressively. I think it'll start to ignite this place the way that it was 10 years ago.
This is kind of a changing of the guard card. If you look at the main event and co-main event, we haven't had a main event, a middleweight championship bout without Israel Adesanya since UFC 217 with GSP versus Bisping. We haven't seen a women's bantamweight championship bout without Amanda Nunes since UFC 200. Like, it's a pretty incredible time right now for these two divisions, which are really kind of cyclical.
That's a good point. I actually never even thought of that. Yeah, no, good point.
And what do you think is going to happen with these two divisions? Do you think it's going to be one of those situations where the belt's starting to change hands a lot when you have these dominant champions? We've seen that in the past.
Yeah, and what happens is it'll happen for a short period of time, and then somebody else will end up becoming dominant and defending the title however many times. It's like nobody saw it coming with Israel Adesanya. Guy was a kickboxer, and everybody was wondering, how's he going to deal with the wrestling? The level of wrestling is so good in the UFC. And boom, I mean, the guy came out of nowhere, did it fast, and held on to it for a long time.
You're looking for a fight while you're in Toronto.
Right.
What kind of activities do you have planned? I know you're going to see Unified, but do you have anything else planned in terms of fun things to do around the city?
Well, those guys have been here since, I want to say they got here Tuesday. So they've been running around doing stuff. I'm only going to do a couple of the activities with them, and then the fight tomorrow night. But looking for a fight's fun, man. And when we saw the opportunity to do it in Toronto, it made sense. We jumped all over it.
UFC 299 is so stacked in Miami this March. And then you've got UFC 300 the next month.
Yeah.
People have such high expectations for 300 because you've set them for UFC 299 with what we're seeing on that card. What more is there to come for UFC 300? I know you've already announced 2 big fights this past week.
Yeah, I agree. And we were just talking earlier. I mean, if you look at what we got going on this year, you look at Anaheim is awesome. 299 is awesome. 300 is going to be, and you look at all these cards that are stacked. 300 is going to be different because the first prelim of the night is going to make you go, oh my God. This is the first prelim of the night. You have to watch the first prelim of the night. And in the United States, the entire card is on ESPN, even the first fight of the night. So it's going to be a very special, unique card like nothing we've ever done before, because every single fight from the first one to the last one is a fight you do not want to miss.
I still feel like there's one more domino to fall. Like, are we going to see another?
A couple more.
A couple more. So we're going to see another title fight added. And then you look at UFC 200 with Brock Lesnar, kind of a left field announcement, somebody who we haven't seen in a while. Could something like that happen for UFC 300?
I don't think there's going to be anything out of left field. This is just going to be, a type of card that we've never done before. It's going to be, every fight is a must-see fight.
And when you look at Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, that's added. That's the BMF championship.
Right.
And you also have Charles and Arman Tsarukyan on the card. It's a lot of stakes in what I think a lot of people consider the prestige division at lightweight. Is that fight between Charles and Arman Tsarukyan still going to be the #1 contender fight?
That's another thing. You made a good point, and that's true too. Not only is every fight a must-see, every fight is important. Jim Miller breaking into the top 15 at his age and what he's been able to do, the run that he's been on. And yes, that's a #1 contender fight.
Were any calls made to some of those kind of outside-the-box entities, GSP, Ronda, Brock, anything along those lines?
Ronda's not coming back. GSP is not coming back. Brock Lesnar's like 45 years old, or pushing 50, 46. Yeah, no, none of those calls were made.
So we're in a bit of a crunch for time, so let's try to get through a couple things here. Saudi Arabia, there was a card scheduled, I believe it was in March. Has that been moved?
Yes. We moved the card, and I know there's been a lot of talk about that the card wasn't good enough. We never even proposed the card to them. We didn't tell Saudi Arabia about one fight. So that's all, You say bullshit up here? Or,
Go ahead.
It was all bullshit. Bullshit. We never even proposed the card to them. What we wanted to do is, every time the UFC puts on an event, we want to blow the doors off the place. We want, people to be excited. So it was our first fight ever in Saudi Arabia, and a couple of fights that we wanted to line up, they weren't ready to go. So we pushed the card back because we're going to deliver. But never once was one fight proposed to Saudi Arabia, and they were like, yeah, no, this isn't good enough.
So two-pronged question following up on that. Is this still going to be a fight night card, and can we expect to see a championship fight on that card?
It's a fight night card, and there will not be a championship fight on it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be big names sort of thing that are big in the region.
100%.
We're still seeing a lot of shows being held at the UFC Apex. Do you expect that to be the norm for the foreseeable future?
No, we're gonna start moving around fight nights. I think when's the last fight night we did? The last one we did, we broke records. The thing continues to, and we're going into territories that we haven't been in a long time. So, yes, we will move around more.
And is the Apex going to expand at all in terms of the amount of people that can be there?
Yeah, the Apex, we're actually going into construction on the Apex this year, which is when we will start moving around more. Yeah, we're making it bigger, and we're doing a lot of cool things at the Apex.
Is there still going to be a UFC hotel?
Yes, there will be a UFC hotel. We're working on all that stuff.
All right. One quick question for you as well. The UFC is potentially going to trial this year. Is that a concern for you at all going forward?
No.
Is it something you give a lot of thought to, or is it just let the lawyers do their job?
Literally zero. I never think about it ever. It has nothing to do with me.
And the Sphere, September.
That has a lot to do with me. That's all I think about.
Laying down the foundation for what that's going to look like?
I will soon. I will soon. We're getting all the pieces of the puzzle in place right now, and once I get it done, I'll announce little things that we're going to do to kind of give you guys an idea of how special this thing's going to be. This is like my, don't need to do this. Why? Like I was just saying earlier, why do this? Why? Because I know we can. Why? Because I can. Have you seen U2 yet?
I haven't seen it at the Sphere. I've seen them live.
Yeah, I meant at the Sphere.
No, I haven't, unfortunately.
So, any of you that are watching and you end up taking a trip to Vegas, you have to go to the Sphere and see a show there. Even if it's I know they got some nature show that they do too. I haven't seen that one yet, but everybody says it's incredible, and I can only imagine with the technology that they have there. I went to see it, and I was so blown away by it. That night I said, I'm doing a show here.
So with UFC 300, with a potential Conor return, with the Sphere is the one I'm most looking forward to. I just can't wait to see what it looks like. But you've got a lot of things to do today here in Toronto. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.